How you doing, guys? It's your boy. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about DoorDash's Pro Shopper. Be going over the pros and cons, why I used it/used it, and how to improve it as well. And while we do that, we got a Pro Shopper order from Target. It's paying $10.50, 3.5 miles. It's got 9 items. So while we talk about it, we'll be banging this bad boy out. So let's jump right into it.
Furthest I could get out was the 17th. Okay, they're out of the oatmeal that they wanted, so I just sent a substitution suggestion. Okay, they said they'll take the apple cinnamon one.
So for anyone that doesn't know what Pro Shopper is, it is a shopping incentive with DoorDash where you have to meet 6 criteria. So the first one is a minimum 20 lifetime shopping orders, and then they have other metrics for original item count, total item count, substitution issues, quality issues, missing items. So if you're able to maintain the threshold for all 6 criteria, then you can get Pro Shopper. And Pro Shopper claims that you can get shopping orders that pay up to 30% more, that you would be next in line, quote unquote, next in line for the Pro shopping orders. So that's what that is. Oop, did I rip that? Whoops a daisy. It's a good thing I brought some Scotch tape. Let's try that again. Now, given the aforementioned criteria, you do get judged by that on an order-to-order basis. So as far as what your specific stats are with Pro Shopper, they base that on your last 40 shopping orders. All right, before we talk about more, let's hit the road. Since I like to end things on a more uplifting note, I'll actually start off with the cons. And the first con that I want to talk about with DoorDash's Pro Shopper are the metrics, but not for the reason that you might think. As far as the metrics in my respective market, the substitution issues, the item quality issues, and wrong or missing items metrics, if you're able to maintain 1% or lower, then those are 3 out of the 6 metrics to help maintain Pro Shopper. And I actually don't have a problem with those metrics at all. And the minimum lifetime 20 shopping orders, I mean, that's easy peasy lemon squeezy. When it comes to the original item count, it's a minimum 92%, while for the total item count, it's a minimum 99%, which again, I actually don't have a problem with. I think those kind of metrics are perfectly realistic and reasonable. The problem is being able to report items that are missing or that the customer does not approve of. DoorDash does explicitly state that if other shoppers have problems finding specific items, they will exempt that from the original item count if you can't find the original items. DoorDash also explicitly states that when it comes to the total item count and you're not able to get an item because the customer did not approve a substitution, they didn't want a substitution, or they requested a refund, that can be reported in the app as an exclusion with your rating. The main problem I have is how difficult and unreliable it can be to get these exclusions, because that requires the customer to actually know how to use these functions in the app, and that requires DoorDash to actually audit the item. And unfortunately, they don't do that way more often than not. This creates an unfortunate circumstance where even if a store is completely out of stock of the item that the customer originally wanted, and they don't want a substitution or they don't approve of a substitution, that requires the customer to know how to do that stuff, for DoorDash to actually make the exclusion, and it punishes you for something that is beyond your control. which I'm definitely not a fan of. There is a simple solution to that problem, which we'll discuss later on. Okay, just needed. Okay guys, we dropped off that order from Target, paid $10.50, $4 of which was the customer tip. And now I'm gonna go over the second big con that I have with Pro Shopper, which is the fact you're not even guaranteed to get Pro Shopper orders at all. This con is a similar problem that I have with DoorDash Platinum. If you guys wanna hear my overall thoughts on DoorDash's Platinum, you can check out this time card here after finishing this video. But essentially with Pro Shopper, you have priority for the Pro Shopper orders. But unfortunately, that doesn't really mean much if everyone has Pro Shopper. Let's say there's 30 drivers on the road, they all have Pro Shopper. That means 30 people are somehow miraculously having priority for the Pro Shopper orders. And again, you know, you're working your butt off to get these metrics, and unfortunately, it doesn't even guarantee success, similar to Platinum. Now, don't get me wrong, even if you don't have Pro Shopper, you should still be giving it your all when it comes to checking the quality of the items, making sure everything's correct, and really just, you know, giving it all you've got for that premium customer service experience. But if you're going to create an incentive and there's not even a guaranteed reward for your effort, it feels misleading. The third and final con that I have with DoorDash's Pro Shopper is that they do not explicitly state that they will raise the base pay for a Pro Shopper order. And once again, DoorDash is using these misleading tactics to make it seem like they're going to pay us more to do these Pro Shopper orders, when unfortunately they don't explicitly state that they are the ones paying us, quote unquote, up to 30% more. That lies further on the consumer. And don't get me wrong, I do think that the consumer should reward drivers for their hard work and effort, especially when they're going above and beyond, right? On the other hand, it's further proof that DoorDash is not going to pay us directly, even though they're creating this incentive for us to do Pro Shopper. That being said, there are some pros to being Pro Shopper. Get it? Because, you know, Pro Shopper. Yeah, anyway. Now, I know I was just criticizing the fact that you're not guaranteed to see Pro Shopper orders as a Pro Shopper, which is the same criticism I have with Platinum, that even as a Platinum Dasher, you're not guaranteed to see those orders either. But similar to Platinum, you are more likely to see Pro Shopper orders with Pro Shopper. Or should I say, you are more likely to see the higher paying shopping orders. Before Pro Shopper came into my market, it felt like once in a blue moon that I would get like those $20, $30 shopping orders. You know, I'd see one maybe once every few months. But ever since I got Pro Shopper, I've been seeing these at least a couple times a month, sometimes even more than once a week. And in one instance, I even saw 2 of them in a day. So that's pretty heckin' dope. So while some people would say Pro Shopper is just a label, and I totally understand the sentiment behind that, at the same time, I don't see these kind of orders as frequently without Pro Shopper. So I will say with some kind of validity that you are more likely to see those higher paying shopping orders with Pro Shopper. And regardless of which side of the fence that you sit on, another big pro to Pro Shopper is you can have it with or without the rewards program. This essentially means that if you're a cherry picker, if you're a Platinum Dasher, somewhere in between, regardless of your strategy, everyone has access to Pro Shopper, assuming that you do shopping orders in order to make money with DoorDash, which I think is pretty neat. Now, that being said, if you are a Platinum Dasher that does shopping orders to make money, you can definitely see these kind of orders every now and again, which I think is heckin' dope. I know I was being critical of the fact that when it comes to circumstances beyond your control, like if a store has items that are out of stock and a customer doesn't want substitutions, that the exclusions method is very unreliable. But beyond that, my last pro that I have with ProShopper is that the stats are actually pretty realistic and relatively easy to maintain. It can definitely be frustrating if a customer doesn't want a substitution for an item that's out of stock, and DoorDash has their unreliable method of being able to exclude that from your stats so it doesn't lower your stats. But beyond that, the other stats are actually pretty easy to maintain. I mean, if you're checking the dates, if you're checking whether or not milk is spoiled, if fruit is rotten, if meat is tainted, and ensuring that you're getting everything that you're able to get on the order, you shouldn't have a problem with the other stats. And being able to maintain those at the very least will always ensure that you are more likely to get ProShopper back, even if you lose it, because of the other metrics. I would also say that more often than not, I don't have much difficulty even maintaining the more difficult stats, such as the original item count and the total item count. So in other words, if you're giving it your all with each order, it shouldn't be overly difficult to maintain those stats. The number one reason why I not only pursue ProShopper, but also maintain it, is it's really my best bet of getting decent shopping orders with DoorDash. Because without it, most of the time the orders are very mediocre, to say the least. Like I'm getting prioritized for the higher paying Dollar General orders that are paying like $5, $6 for like 10, 15 items each. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still get those with ProShopper too. But hey, given the fact that shopping orders are the most plentiful order type by far, no contest in my particular market, it only makes sense that I go for an incentive program that at least gives me a shot of getting those better orders from time to time. I don't have quite as much to say about how to improve ProShopper compared to Earn by Time or Platinum, but I would say the number one thing is to create some kind of reliable reporting for items that are out of stock, as well as creating reliable reporting on your behalf if a customer doesn't want a substitution. And like I said before, DoorDash does create exclusions for those categories, and a customer can technically go in the app and create a substitution for an item that's out of stock, or they can request a refund. But we know that DoorDash and the customer can be quite unreliable when it comes to these reportings. So if DoorDash created a way for us to be able to do it with some kind of paper trail, then that would make it a lot easier for us to maintain our stats, while also being able to battle circumstances beyond our control. I think the other ways to improve ProShopper is if DoorDash did explicitly raise the base pay. That way it's not always just on the consumer to make up the difference with the higher pay for these ProShopper orders. And if there was more of a guarantee that you were actually going to get ProShopper orders. Because if everyone has priority, then no one actually has priority, which again is a similar problem that I have with Platinum. It's like giving everyone a participation trophy saying that we're all first place, but meanwhile, we all know that only one person can be first place. And I know I've said before that you should be giving it your all with every order, Platinum or not, ProShopper or not, but if you're gonna dangle the keys to the kingdom just out of my reach, then I'm just gonna give my crown back because there's no prestige or royalty to doing such a thing. But I digress. So those are my overall thoughts on DoorDash's ProShopper. It definitely needs some work. Like, I would really, really like if there was a way for me to reliably report stuff missing or out of stock. That way I can combat those circumstances beyond my control without having to rely on DoorDash or the customer, knowing how unreliable those methods can be at times. I would also like there to be some kind of traceable guarantee that I'll even get a ProShopper order at all, and whether or not DoorDash would explicitly raise the base pay if they're going to claim that a ProShopper order pays up to 30% or more, right? But that being said, the metrics are realistic, anyone can do it, and it is pretty nice when you get those ProShopper orders in the double digits and you also get a Platinum label on it. So it is what it is. Anyway, that's all I got regarding DoorDash's ProShopper. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What do you think of it? Have you heard of it? Have you used it? Feel free to share with me your thoughts in the comment section down below. But before I go, I'd like to give a special shout out to all my recurring channel members, everyone that's been financially supporting the channel and showing your patronage with the channel membership emojis. You guys are heckin' dope. And on that note, I love you guys and appreciate you continue supporting my channel. And I will see you next time. Take care.